Do you remember when you learned that your father murdered Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah, it's a big picture that popped up 10. I saw it on TV, and that's how I found out.
Triggered it all. I wish I could give you a good, straightforward answer on that.
Shock and horror as police carry out a large cooking kettle in the most gruesome mass murder case in Milwaukee history.
15 murder charges, 17 victims, and 957 years in prison. Following the release of the new Netflix miniseries Monster, The Jeffrey Dahmer Story, which stars American Horror Stories' Evan Peters as the murderer himself, there has been a lot of talk about the life and crimes of Dahmer. It didn't take long before Dahmer got a taste of his own medicine. True crime enthusiasts are eagerly looking for explanations for Jeffrey Dahmer's horrifying deeds. Dahmer spent his time in Wisconsin's Columbia Correctional Facility when another prisoner, Christopher Scarver, beat him to death in 1994. How did Jeffrey Dahmer die? Who is Christopher Scarver, and where is he today? In this video, we will tell you everything you need to know about Christopher Scarver and his reasons for killing Jeffrey Dahmer. Why is Christopher Scarver in prison? Following the shooting of Stephen Lohman, a member of the Wisconsin Conservation Corps, Christopher Scarver was given a life term in prison. The tab said that after being sacked from the same corporation Lohman worked for, Scarver started hearing voices that described him as the chosen one. Scarver also thought he was 1,000,000 years old and claimed to be the Son of God. Maybe the Son of God didn't realize not everybody can be resurrected from the dead. Scarver then asked a site manager for money, but was only offered $15, so he decided to kill Lohman. Why did Christopher Scarver kill Jeffrey Dahmer? Christopher Scarver killed Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer on November 28, 1994, when they were left alone for 20 minutes while cleaning the prison gym. In Monster, The Jeffrey Dahmer Story, Scarver beat Dahmer and Anderson to death with a weight bar he took from the prison gym. But why kill them both, and what led up to this situation? Was it really that easy? Scarver attacked Dahmer because he would mock other prisoners by creating dismembered limbs out of jail food and drizzling ketchup as blood. This built up tension in the facility. So, that's it. Scarver decided it was time Dahmer stopped playing with his food. Get it? However, Gerald Boyle, who represented Dahmer in court, doesn't think it's true that Dahmer taunted his inmates. Stephen Cohn, who represented Scarver, doesn't either, because in June of 1995, 6 months after the two killings, Scarver never mentioned anything about Dahmer provoking inmates or made fun about his crimes. Scarver said that after killing Dahmer and Anderson, God had instructed him to do so. He was cited as saying by a jail guard, "God told me to do it." You will hear about it on the 6 o'clock news. Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer are dead. Scarver said that the guards were involved in making it happen, but he made no further comments. Since prison officials supposedly knew that he wanted the murderer killed, Scarver claimed it was no coincidence that he ended up with Dahmer unattended. The majority of Dahmer's victims were either black or Hispanic, and Anderson had attempted to frame 2 black men for the murder of his wife. It has also been suggested that Scarver was motivated to kill Dahmer and Anderson because of how their respective crimes affected black people and the black community. Maybe it doesn't really matter whether any of this is true. We all enjoy a thrilling story, right? It was later discovered that Scarver hid the bar in the leg of his trousers. Dahmer survived the initial beating, but had severe face and skull fractures. He passed away an hour after being transported to the hospital. Anderson was assaulted by Scarver as well and passed away 2 days later from identical wounds. Is Christopher Scarver still alive? Christopher was handed 2 further life terms for the murder of Dahmer, yet he is still alive and incarcerated in the Centennial Correctional Facility in Colorado. He started composing and releasing poetry volumes in 2015 while he was still inside. He also has a son who was born before he was incarcerated and is now 27 years old. Scarver and his son used to be apart, but are now reconciled after exchanging letters. Dahmer had stated in his will that he would like to be cremated rather than have a funeral. The remains of Dahmer were divided between his parents and burned in September 1995.